August 1944, Myitkyina, Burma. After a brutal 78-day siege, American forces liberated the city and uncovered a harrowing secret that would expose one of modern history's largest systems of sexual slavery. Among those captured were 20 Korean women and 2 Japanese civilian comfort station operators. Interrogations by the U.S. Office of War Information's Psychological Warfare Unit produced Report Number 49, the first official American documentation of Japan's euphemistically named Comfort Women system. The women testified they had been lured from Korea in 1942 with false promises of factory work in Singapore, only to be trafficked via Rangoon to the Burmese frontier and forced into sexual slavery. Declassified in 1973, this report meticulously detailed the atrocious living conditions, operational procedures, and the systematic nature of their enslavement. This shocking discovery was merely a glimpse into a far wider atrocity. Historian Yoshimi Yoshiaki would later uncover nearly 2,000 comfort stations stretching from China to the Dutch East Indies, enslaving an estimated 200,000 women. Across the vast Pacific, from the steaming jungles of Burma to the shattered cities of the Philippines, Allied forces repeatedly encountered women who had endured systematic sexual slavery on an industrial scale. Less than a month later, on September 7, 1944, another pivotal moment occurred in China's Yunnan province. During an assault on Japanese positions, U.S.-Chinese Allied forces liberated Korean comfort women in Songsan. Private Charles Hatfield of the U.S. Army's 164th Signal Photo Company captured an indelible image for Korean women, one visibly pregnant, being led to safety by Chinese soldiers. Sergeant Edward Fay filmed motion picture footage of the same event. These vital images, preserved in the U.S. National Archives, would provide irrefutable visual evidence decades later. The pregnant woman was eventually identified as Park Young-sim, who, after 56 years of silence, would bravely testify about her ordeal at the Women's International War Crimes Tribunal in Tokyo in 2000. Tragically, military records reveal that of the 24 comfort women originally in Songsan, only 10 survived the bombardments preceding the Allied assault to sea liberation. The Allied Translator and Interpreter Section, ATIS, established in September 1942, became instrumental in documenting the comfort women's system. By 1945, ATIS, comprised mostly of Nisei Japanese Americans, had grown to nearly 4,000 personnel, meticulously processing thousands of captured documents. These records laid bare the chilling bureaucratic machinery of sexual slavery. ATIS Research Report Number 120, Amenities in the Japanese Armed Forces, submitted to General MacArthur, offered the most comprehensive Allied documentation. This report, expanding from 22 to 42 pages by November 1945, included captured Japanese military regulations as annexes. Though these documents initially misclassified comfort stations under amusement/brothels rather than war crimes, a reflection of a deeply flawed contemporary understanding that would take decades to correct, they unveiled standardized procedures across the Pacific. Regulations from Nanjing, 1939, and Mandalay detailed everything from medical examination schedules, fees based on military rank and operating hours, to mandatory condom requirements, officially listing women as licensed prostitutes under strict military oversight. Transport documents showed Army cargo ships and railway freight cars, marked military supplies, moving comfort women from Japan and Korea, each movement requiring multiple approvals and official seals, bureaucratic proof that survived even deliberate destruction. Crucially, the language within these documents systematically obscured the grim reality. Special service personnel meant sex slaves. Comfort facilities were rape stations. Medical treatment often implied forced abortion, and amenities euphemistically categorized systematic rape as entertainment. This linguistic sanitization deeply affected how these women were perceived and treated during liberation, often leaving them in a bureaucratic limbo, categorized as neither prisoners of war, civilian internees, nor military personnel. From October 1944 to July 1945, the liberation of the Philippines revealed the most extensive network of comfort stations American forces would encounter. As the U.S. 1st Cavalry Division raced into Manila on February 3, 1945, to liberate thousands of Allied civilian internees, they passed through districts riddled with these facilities, which had operated for 3 brutal years. Records would later document at least 12 comfort stations and 5 brothels in Manila alone, with countless others discovered across the archipelago, including in North Luzon, Central Visayas, and Mindanao, housing women of various nationalities. During the fierce month-long Battle of Manila, American forces systematically uncovered more stations in districts like Malate, Binondo, and Quiapo. Captured financial records from Japanese 14th Area Army Headquarters exposed the profound economic exploitation at the system's core. Women were charged exorbitant fees for food, clothing, and even medical treatment, creating an inescapable debt bondage. They never handled actual currency. Military paymasters controlled all transactions, with soldiers charged based on rank. Among the first Filipino survivors to find freedom, thanks to Filipino guerrillas working with American forces, was Maria Rosa L. Henson. At just 14, she was first assaulted in February 1942, then forced into comfort woman's service for 9 months in 1943. Rescued in January 1944, Henson bravely became the first Philippine woman to publicly share her story in 1992, shattering nearly 50 years of silence. Her testimony became a vital document, detailing the station's operations and the crucial role of local guerrillas in liberation efforts. Nothing could have prepared American forces for the horror awaiting them on Okinawa, where the invasion began on April 1, 1945. Intelligence had vastly underestimated the scale. Over 145 comfort stations were found across the mere 70-mile-long island, including 17 in Naha alone. These facilities, discovered in every major town and military installation, housed Korean, Taiwanese, and Okinawan women, some as young as 14. In the rapid Japanese collapse, Marines near the ancient capital of Shuri found cave complexes where Korean comfort women had been hidden. Japanese propaganda had relentlessly instilled terror, telling these women that Americans would torture and cannibalize them, even issuing hand grenades to encourage suicide over capture. The immense scale of documentation on Okinawa quickly overwhelmed existing translators. By May 1945, Addis deployed 3 full translation teams, processing thousands of documents that revealed extensive bureaucratic detail. Duty rosters forcing women to service 30 to 40 men daily during peak periods, medical records detailing forced abortions and sterilizations, and payment ledgers showing the military's total financial control. Nisei Japanese-American translators from units like Merrill's Marauders and the Mars Task Force, vital for interrogating captured personnel in Burma, continued to be indispensable. These courageous translators faced formidable challenges. The women spoke a multitude of languages and dialects: Korean, Chinese, Tagalog, Indonesian, Dutch, and many Korean women, having been forbidden their native tongue for so long, struggled to communicate even with Korean-speaking interpreters. Deep cultural barriers also made discussing sexual trauma agonizingly difficult, with many refusing to speak to male translators. The documents further exposed the system's cruel racial hierarchy. Korean women were Class A, Chinese Class B, and Southeast Asian women Class C, with different stations serving different ranks, often subjecting fewer women in officer-only stations to even more extreme abuse. This documentation unequivocally revealed rape industrialized according to military rank and racial prejudice. Japan's surrender on August 15, 1945, coincided with the liberation of the Dutch East Indies, exposing yet another horrific facet of the system: the enslavement of European women. Among them was Jan Ruff O'Hearn, born in Java in 1923, who, at 21, was taken from an internment camp in February 1944 and forced into a comfort station for 4 months before her liberation. O'Hearn bravely broke decades of silence with her 1994 memoir and testified before a U.S. congressional hearing in 2007, offering chilling accounts of systematic Japanese military sexual slavery. While British and Australian forces documented stations across Java and repatriated Indonesian survivors, Dutch authorities initially suppressed information about Dutch women's involvement, sealing records to protect their honor, a devastating decision that delayed justice for decades. Allied medical teams examining liberated comfort women documented catastrophic health consequences. Report number 49 revealed widespread malnutrition, with women suffering average body weight losses of 32%, often weighing a mere 60 to 70 pounds. Endemic sexually transmitted diseases like syphilis and gonorrhea were inadequately treated with toxic substances, leading to sterility and severe complications. Medical records also provided evidence of forced abortions, sterilizations, and profound reproductive damage from relentless sexual assault, a stark testament to systematic brutality. These women exhibited diseases of nutritional deficiency akin to those found in concentration camps. Though military medical personnel offered basic treatment with emerging drugs like penicillin, specialized psychological support for sexual trauma was virtually non-existent in 1940 psychiatry. Doctors noted hysteria, melancholia, and nervous exhaustion,